afternoon, good morning. I don't even know what time it is. I've been awake so long today. I've been running, going to the gym. I did a show at 7 a.m. It's only 11 a.m. And in my mind, in Sharifa world, it is at least 2 p.m. So good morning, good morning, good morning. And thank you for joining me on another episode of Read Me Live. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and we have another incredible show for you today. I have a very special guest, Beth Pellino-Dudzic, and we're going to talk about love, lies, and the road to redemption. Good morning, Beth. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. I'm fine. I'm waiting to do my workout in a little bit, so I understand the workout's important.
Yes. I typically do not do a workout at 5 o'clock in the morning at all.
No,
I just did it today because I was kind enough to do a reading at 7 a.m. for someone because we couldn't find a time. So he was like, I can do this time, 10 a.m. his time, and it was 7 a.m. my time. So I said, you know what? I got to do it. And the rest of my day is booked. We have your reading. We have your show. We got to find out about you. So after this, I think I'm really going to get some rest.
Good. I also read cards. Just I'm going to throw that out there.
You do? So are you going to read for us?
And I don't. I find it that you cannot read yourself. You can try.
Okay.
You can look at the cards.
Okay.
But we always want something that we read into it that may not be really there.
Okay, but you can read for me.
I could for me, I have to get into the mindset, and it's like put on my new age music, light the stage, and just get into the head, because you're taking on somebody else's energy. So that's,
yes,
as you know.
Yes, that's why I have to go to the gym, continue going to the gym, not just today, but in general, because I find when I don't go to the gym, I don't eat right. If my diet is not right, if I haven't gotten plenty of sleep, I am all over the place. But it's good to know you're a professional, because reading for the professionals always makes me nervous.
No, don't, because I like it. I actually have a person who I do go to,
Okay.
and she's been pretty spot on about things. So
Okay.
I always love when somebody else does it.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love that you read the cards. I have to put on maybe some new age music and light some sage the next time I do a reading. I always admire people who can, meditate for a long period of time and then read. I'm always just go, go, go.
Well, everybody does it differently. So that's the great thing.
That is the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it. And we're going to get into the reading. I always tell people, I'm a third generation reader. My mom told me years ago, about 20 years ago, I should do it professionally. I was like, I am not going to do that. 20 years later, it's all I want to do.
Good.
And help people and help businesses. But 20 years ago, if someone asked me for a reading, I went right into the cards. 20 years later, I'm like, we'll get to the cards. We'll get to the cards. Let's talk.
I taught my youngest daughter. She really wanted to learn, and I taught her, and I gave her a couple of books. Okay. And she used to do it at college, and I said, you should be charging at least $10 a reading for it. I mean,
right,
make some money.
Right. We have to get to that point. We definitely have to get to that point, because it was a long time before I charged, and now my friends don't want to hear that, because these are people who've been coming to me for readings, not necessarily people that I would even consider friends outside of that. But I'm like, I've given you 200 million free readings. It's time to pay.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, see, I might have to get some private lessons from Beth. Find out what her tricks and her techniques are.
Yeah, well, there is one. I only read, and I have probably 50 decks of tarot cards, and the only one I think is a very good indicator in reading is the Rider-Waite Radiant. because you see the light in the dark. And
Okay.
that helps. I think it helps with the reading because you could see all those dark cards and be like, oh, this is going to be a reading.
I've never even heard of the Rider-Waite Radiance at
Yes.
all.
Yes.
I'm learning.
Check it out.
I'm as soon as we finish, I am going to Google it because I launched this show because I wanted to demystify a lot of these conversations because people, think it's so mystical and so secretive and they don't understand it. So I also wanted to learn.
It's also, some people think it's ungodly, right?
Absolutely.
And what they don't understand is there is dark stuff, and we know that there's Santeria and all of that. But tarot reading is actually white magic. There's nothing that's negative or ungodly about it, and I think that's what people need to know.
Yes.
That it's also a suggestion. I mean, you can always take a different route. But there are people I have seen in the past, because my friend owned a tarot store and I kind of worked with her for a while. And they live by the cards. I mean, and it's nice to get a reading and kind of check your temperature. But there are people who will go every week.
Right.
Anytime they have an issue, they go and get the cards read. And I mean, I'm not against that, but it's also, you need to be somewhat in control of your own life.
Right.
And the cards are just an aid. And I think that's important for people to know that.
I think what you just said is preaching the gospel. I'm actually getting ready to release a book on some of the things that you just discussed. And one of the things and I do understand that everybody's different, everybody reads different, but whenever I go and I see or I hear a reader who says the card says, and the card says, and the card said, I'm like, okay, I already know where you're at, because it's not about what the cards say. It's about what you say, what you feel, what you hear, what you pick up, what your intuition is telling you about this situation. I've had times when I've laid out cards and the cards didn't speak to me at all. Then all of a sudden I go in a completely different direction. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I hear. This is what I get. And that is, to me, a reader, somebody who's reading your energy.
Yes, you have to read their energy, and certain cards for me might not be the same for somebody else. And the one thing that I think you'll understand is some of us just are born with that intuitive nature, where your gut is telling you something, or you get a feeling. I manifest every morning the things that I want. And it clears your head, and it's just that intuitiveness, and not everybody has it. And it's a special gift that is given to you.
Well, thank you for saying that, because Beth, I feel like you're just over here in my world, reading my mind and see your psychic ability is coming through. We don't even need the cards, because you are detailing what I have been going through for the last week, with people telling me, Sharifa, this is your gift. You're gifted. You have to use it. You have to do that. This is what God gave you to help other people. And so it's wonderful to hear that you say that.
Yes, and like you said, demystify. I think tarot is beautiful. Some people use it the wrong way, and I'm not about those kind of people. I think they should stop.
Yes.
I like to check in on certain readers, and I know right away if they're a bad reader, and you probably understand the same thing.
Yes.
Because when you know the cards, now it's a story when you put them all together, right? And some people come up with a story. I've gone to one or two, and immediately I knew, okay, I've just wasted $40 on this. But I see it through because you know when you sit down and they lay the cards out and
Mhm.
they're a bad reader. Um,
Okay.
but I've been fortunate that I've had good readers.
Okay. Well, that's my main indication because I don't like to judge people and I understand people do it differently. Just like I know I do mine different, the way I turn
Mhm.
them over, the way I give the information. But for me, the main thing is when someone just says, well, the cards say, the cards say, the cards say. And
Yeah.
so that's like, run. But the other thing is for people, like you were saying earlier, who just go and get readings. I had to tell someone yesterday who asked me for a reading, and I'm like, I just read for you on that same issue. You know, I'm not going to keep reading and reading and reading. God answered you. He gave you an answer. We're not going to go back and be like, well, did you really mean to say this? No. And some things are just practical. Some things are common sense. Some things you just know, right? So I truly enjoy it, but somehow it's 11:11. We got into this conversation, and we were not supposed to be here. Beth, you didn't taking me down
I'm
the
sorry.
road.
You said we're all over the place. So if you want to know anything about me, I can start talking about that. I can talk about a lot of things.
I can tell. No, it's fine. I'm enjoying the conversation. I just didn't
Good.
want to monopolize it on the things that I love and I care about
No,
because
I
we're
love them
talking
too.
about you.
I love them too.
But
Um, Me. I was born in the Bronx, New
okay,
York City, and I am a proud New Yorker.
okay.
Um, it's in my DNA. I might be living in Alabama. That's only because I had no choice to move where my husband was job went,
Okay.
and I do find that I miss New York. I love it. I have one daughter who's still there.
Mhm,
But Alabama, gets a bad rap, but it's this Southern charm
mhm,
is here, and people are very friendly.
mhm.
And I just love that about the South. People will thank you, this, that. Not that we don't do that in New York. New
Mhm,
Yorkers also get a bad rap
mhm,
because they're like, oh, we're very friendly until
mhm.
you give us a reason not to be friendly.
Yes.
So, and yes, I could come after somebody if they came in hard at me. And
Right.
sometimes I have to forget living down south. I have friends that say, "You're a Southern lady now," and I'm like, "Am I? No, I'm still a New Yorker." So
My
yeah,
dad's from New York.
yeah, I grew up in Westchester County, which is right above the Bronx,
Mhm,
and wonderful life. I came from um, obviously an Italian family, and my
mhm,
mother's side was Jewish. So when you merge those two ethnicities together, it's the same. Um, it's all about family, and I had two big families on each side, and I grew up in a wonderful way. And also the time frame was when people, my grandmother would go shopping and everybody knew her and
mhm.
everybody knew who we were. It was just a wonderful way to grow up.
Oh, wow.
And then as I got older, we moved closer to the city, but
Mhm,
still in Westchester. And I was in high school, and it was the era of the in New York City, the club scene was very big. Bands, all trying to make it.
mhm,
And I became best friends with the biggest band that was on the circuit.
mhm.
So I was lucky. Like I got in right from the beginning with the good guys. And I did date somebody who worked for the band.
Okay.
And so I would go to any club, my name would be at the door,
Mhm.
and I was underage, but nobody knew that. And so I started from the age of 16, plus going to concerts, going to a lot of concerts. You have Madison Square Garden, but you had some of the smaller venues. And I have seen, there's a few bands I haven't seen that I would still love to see.
Okay.
But I can say honestly, if you name them, I probably saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And we would take in the train, the bus and train, or the train into Grand Central, and we just did that. It was concert going was a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did hook into the New York City club scene, and I eventually started serious girlfriend of somebody who played in another band.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to know the other bands on the circuit.
Right.
And it was a lifestyle, and it was a fun lifestyle. And there was also the bad things you saw. And along with that, I had a friend who, I forget how she met this guy, but he was a big deal. He was a promotional manager of a big record company. So
Okay.
he'd call us and say, "Hey, do you want to come? I got backstage passes for you." And so the music was a very big part of my life at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, and when you're younger, like late teens, 20s, you don't really have a full feeling of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, yes, I would love to sing in a band, but I never had that thing that
Okay.
said, I'm going to do it. And I'm not pretty enough. I'm not, so this self doubt just builds.
You thought you weren't pretty enough?
Yeah, I did.
Oh wow. I'm just
And
imagining you at 16, young blonde. I would think you running around in the clubs. I would think
well, let
you
me
would
tell you
feel
something. A lot of those people, when the older generation, as my daughter says, took over Facebook,
okay.
I reconnected with these people, and I said, "Oh, I wasn't. I was just average." And they're like, "You didn't know that you were hot?" I said, "Was I?" Because if I would have known that back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
probably things would have been a lot
A lot
different in
different.
my life. But
Okay.
I didn't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think as a woman, and I got married to somebody I shouldn't have gotten married to,
Mm-hmm.
but from that marriage, I have 3 daughters who
Oh,
I love with everything I am. I mean,
oh,
they're
that's
my
beautiful.
yeah, they're my everything. So that's the takeaway from a bad marriage.
I
And
know that feeling well. I got 2 of my own.
right. And then I became a single mother,
Mhm.
and I had to move my daughters from Hawaii because I
Oh,
lived there.
okay.
And it was hard, but I said I wanted them to have that New York DNA.
Experience.
Yeah, and they are
Mhm.
those people. Um, so that was great. And I still was friends
Mhm.
with some of those band people. And they would come to my house, they knew my daughters. It was kind of like a full circle.
Mhm.
And but then at that point, you're in your 40s. And I really believe, and I will say this, and I have said it many times, once a woman gets to be about 39, 40 years old, you know who you are.
Okay.
You are that person, whatever it is, Yes, if you come at me, I'll be confrontational, but I'm a nice person. I will give you the shirt off my back. Just don't mess with me.
Right.
Um, you know what you want in life. You know the type of man you want. Um, so the confidence level
Mhm.
is so high where you can say, I can do anything.
Right.
I'm a woman. I know who I am. I'm not going to let all those other things that I was afraid of or whatever. No, they don't bother you anymore.
Mhm.
You know who you are. And when people say, "Oh my God, I'm going to be 40," I say, "Congratulations. You are finally hitting who you are." And you go through it and you say, "Yes, I can do anything."
Yes.
Um, after you go through one divorce, I just say, women, you're good. You're good. You let that weight off of you. You are who you are.
Well, thank you. I received that. I'm 49. I'll be 50 in March. And so that's why for me, I'm going in a different direction. I have the confidence to speak. I'm sharing a lot more because I'm like, I am really feeling 50. Things that I wouldn't have said. I'm like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I'm going to hurt some, when you get to a certain age, you just say what you got to say.
Yes.
And I truly
Yes.
enjoy that.
Yes. It's the wonderful feeling of as we grow, and a lot of the stuff that ages us
Mhm.
is our children.
Yeah.
And so when they come back at you, like I taught them to be not passive.
Mhm.
So when they come at me, I say, wow, well, what's that about? And they're like, you taught us how to be that way. And it's like, oh, I created monsters.
Little
Um,
New Yorkers.
but they stand up for themselves. And
Mhm.
I think I taught them about music at a young age, and just a lot of things that I felt, no, you need to know these things.
Right.
This is history. This is, you grow from that point. Um, but yeah, your children start to age you when they get to a certain age, and you're like, no, you're not. You're not that age. I'm not that old. How can you be? What? And it does. It feels a little ageist. Because now I have a granddaughter, and
Um,
I never thought I wanted to be a grandmother
right.
until this little girl was born, and I was like, "Oh my god!" She doesn't call me grandma; she calls me Gigi.
That
Um,
was that was my question. That's what I was going to ask. It's like nobody wants to be called grandma anymore. I mean, they want to be anything but grandma. So how did you come up with Gigi?
well, it's very big in the South.
Okay.
Gigi is a thing, and I thought of other things
Mhm.
that my granddaughter could call me. My mom is still alive, so I said, "No, she's grandma."
Okay.
She's grandma, and her other grandmother is grandma, whatever, Nana. And I said, No. I said, I'm too young for you to call me that. So yeah, I came up with Gigi. I know a few of my friends, that's what their grandchildren call them. Another thing that's big in the South, they'll say, Mama K, Mama this. And I said, I don't, my daughter didn't like that at all. So,
She didn't want to be Mama Beth.
yeah, no, she did not want that. Because I keep saying to her, I'm taking that baby and I'm bringing her here. And she's like, what are you saying, Mom? And I said, no, I want her. Because she reminds me of my daughter at that age too. I mean, she looks like her, and I'm like, she's you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I want her. Not going to get her. She's in Portland, Oregon. So,
Aw.
but yeah, those are the things about me now.
Mhm.
And I decided my book series
Mhm.
was something I had in my head for like 25 years.
Okay.
And they and I have 3 other stories that I have put on my imaginary bookshelf and said, I'm not ready for you to come out.
Okay.
And the way the story came to me was like little black and white vignettes,
Okay.
and they were shooting at me through the years. And about 3 years ago, I said, I should really be writing these books.
Mhm.
And I kind of said, yeah, okay. And I was cleaning my house, and the story started coming to me in black and white. And I
Okay.
started seeing characters, and then they started having, like, this was their backstory. And I said, okay. I literally went into the shower, and the story flew through my body. And I said, okay, I got to get the laptop. I got to start writing it. And I actually did. From that day, I sat and I said, I'm writing the story. And this story has become an 8-book series because as you're writing it, you see the story go in different directions. And
Right.
with romance books, they want you to have a certain number of word count. And I have a great team. I'm self-published, but I have a team behind me. I have
Okay.
a publishing consultant, an editor,
Mm-hmm.
my marketing person, the woman who does all my book covers and my
Graphics.
book design. So they're all phenomenal people. And so they make me better.
Mm-hmm.
And when I thought I was at the end, they said, no, continue the story.
Right.
So I said, okay. So then you continue it, and it's like, oh, I'm going to have this happen. I'm going to have this happen. I know
Mm-hmm.
how the story will eventually end,
Okay.
but there's so much left. Like I said, book 4 and 5 are written.
Mm-hmm.
6 is halfway there.
Okay.
So I know where I'm going to
Going.
take it. And the only way I can do it, and being in the book count, the word count, is to have it be 8 books. And I'm thrilled that it's going to be 8 books. And then I have another story that's been, all the other stories have been sitting on this shelf,
Mm-hmm.
except for one, which I was listening to Electric Light Orchestra when I was working out. And it was the song Evil Woman. And then, boom, a story came into my head. And I said, oh my God, this is going to be a good one. That would be a series.
Okay.
So it's some things just come at you
Mm-hmm.
and take it because it's been given to you from up above saying it's, you need to do it.
Right.
So yeah, the creativeness of not singing probably when I should have, and telling my parents I wanted to go to college for acting, and they said, no,
Oh.
that's not happening. You take the straight road, which I did.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that in you, just like you have that in you, right? It doesn't, it comes out in different ways.
Right.
And, you know, when I was the stay-at-home mom, being very, being a very prominent family in Honolulu because of my ex-husband, you find creative ways. You know, I gave the best parties. People always wanted to come. So that creative nature doesn't leave us. It takes a different form, but it will always come back to what you were meant to do. Did
Oh.
I think it was writing? Probably not,
Mhm.
but I've written songs for my
Okay.
books because they're about a rock band.
Okay.
So I have about 16 songs I've written.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I want somebody to help me put the music to it. And I'm talking about somebody that's pretty popular. I want somebody really, to collab with me.
And
And
I believe you're gonna get that. But I want to go back to the books, Beth. You said that you received the download when you were in the shower, and it for you it always amazes me. That's why I love speaking to the greats and to people, is because for them it comes across as it was just that easy. You self-published, and I understand go get the laptop, but how did you go through or figure out the process of self-publishing?
well, I have a sister-in-law who wrote a book,
Okay.
and she's much younger than me, and um, her family background has a lot of creative entertainment, I'll just say.
Okay.
And she told me she was writing a book, and she went through a literary agent, and I was reading up on all this stuff
Okay.
as I was writing the books. And if you're a first-time author, to spend the money on a literary agent who's now going to pitch your book to a publishing company,
Right.
Will take years.
Okay.
And if the literary agent doesn't think your work is good, they're not even going to promote it to a publishing house.
Okay.
So I knew for me, and I read a lot on indie authors, and I came across two really bad people, because there's a lot of bad indie author people who will help you. And so I went on this site that was called Alliance of Self-Publishers. And believe it or not, there was only, and they rated them green light, yellow light, red light. And I dealt with a couple of red light people.
Okay.
And there was about only 8. There might be some more now, but there was only 8 people. I spoke to every one of them.
Okay.
And it came down to 2. And I went with the publishing consultant who I have now, who is very well established as a publishing consultant. And I know that, every time the next book is ready, it's like, here it is. And she's like, okay, here we go. And the pattern continues, and then it goes to my editor. So I really have a cohesive team. Okay. And I always say to them, okay, let's get the band back together. We're doing the next book. And they're all excited. They love the fact that it's a series, and they're just, they're Team Beth, and they love the idea. So I'm fortunate. It is an expensive proposition if you're going to do it right. No lies, it's going to be somewhere between 15 and 17K. And that's just to get the book out there. And the marketing doesn't stop. I mean, I'm actually in the middle of a promo, which is a virtual book tour, and it's just a lot of work. Right. But it's happy work. I don't mind all promoting myself. I believe in promoting myself, and I've gone to romance conventions, and I'm doing one next week, actually. Okay. And I'm booked up for 2026.
Oh, congratulations.
It's great, but when you meet authors, and my team told me, they said, you're different. You want to be out in the public eye. You do. Okay. And a lot of authors want to hide behind a pen name. They don't want to talk. They don't want to put themselves out there. And I think that's a mistake, because you as the author are the brand, and the books are a brand. And so you need to tie the two together if you want your books to be
out there. So speaking of tying the books together, do you have one of your books handy?
Well, I of course have them handy.
Like, I want to tie it together. I want to see okay. What we're talking about.
Okay. There goes that. Okay. So I'll start with my first book, which is called Playing Hard.
Playing Hard is a beautiful cover.
Yeah, she does beautiful work. She does. Yes. And I said, the girl in the white crochet dress means something to the story. So I will give her the book's about this, and she's like, okay, got it. And then she'll create this cover. And Playing Hard means when you start out in the beginning, it's hard. So every book is going to be playing something. Okay. And the second one, which is, I think, a very, I don't want to say dramatic in a bad way, but there are things that happen in life. Okay. And this is one of them that goes on in the music scene. And, it's the trials and tribulations of what happens to you when you get a little bit of fame, you get a lot of fame.
Okay.
So,
Playing high.
yeah. And so, yes, playing high, you do. That is part of the music scene. And, you know, I don't shy away from it because it is a real thing and it was back then. So you need to be real because people will know you're not real
Not.
if you don't put it in there. So playing rough
Mm.
is about the aftermath of
Oh,
playing high,
okay.
but it starts to lend itself
Mhm.
into the next book, which is not ready, and it's going to be called Playing Dirty.
Playing dirty.
Yeah, and book 6, my marketing person and I started coming up with, because everything's going to be playing
Playing.
something. So we have an idea for playing 5, but I know my publishing consultant will definitely have a say in that. So even though, like, I'll bounce ideas off of them,
Hmm.
and my marketing person said, "What about this for book 5?" And I said, "Yeah, I like it." I said, "But we have to go through that person because she's very good, um, and I trust her. So
Hmm.
if she has a certain opinion that's very strong, I will always, say, okay, I trust you. I do trust them and they want me to succeed. So I think that's important. And, I could be doing this into book 4.
Hmm.
I do believe they will take off. I think the right person,
Hmm.
and that's like a question for you. Um, I believe they will take off. And
Hmm.
for me, like every podcast I've ever been on, whether it was music related or book related, and then some that were very women oriented. And I think, and I will say this, Sharifa, I think when we get to where we are in
Hmm.
life, we understand. You don't when you're younger,
Hmm.
but you do understand that your female friendships
Hmm.
are very, very important.
I
More
agree.
more so than your husband or any guy you've got, because they're always going to be there for you. They're always going to give you advice, whether you take it or not. But
Mhm.
if they're a solid friend, you listen to them. And when we're younger, we don't look at women like that. We are, there's jealousy and envy and all of that
Competition.
competition, and that fades away when we get older because we understand. And I'm not going on this women power thing, but I believe women do stick together at a
Mhm.
certain age, and that we find more about sisterhood and the whole thing, that is very important as you get to be a little bit older, and you don't understand that until
I
you.
like it. I like it. And I agree. I mean, I'm all for women's empowerment. But when you were talking and you were talking about the book names, I'm like, names are just coming to me, all the playing. I'm like, ooh, there could be a book called Playing Small about somebody named, I don't know, maybe Beth was playing small. She didn't want to go out there and sing and start this whole career because she didn't know how hot she was. I'm like, I see playing small. Then you got the final conclusion, playing fair.
Yeah,
Life is ultimately fair. So
I
I just
I know what I think book 6 will be,
okay.
because book 6, when it is a romance.
Mm,
It's a rock and roll romance. It's a very deep romance. It's
mm,
spicy and steamy, which is something when you have to. And it's easy for me now, but
mm.
when you write that first sex scene, you're like, but but it's part of this couple's story, so
Right.
you can't leave it out. And it's the high and lows. You always have to have, and there are two antagonists.
Mm,
that keep coming up. So not everything in a romance should be all hunky-dory. There has
Right.
to be something that's irritating. And I do that. And book 6 and 7 are probably going to be very chaotic, I will say.
Mm. Playing
Yeah.
with fire.
That is actually a name that somebody wanted me to actually do. And that might be
I
you
like that.
you felt that from me.
I did. I
Because
did. I
that
did.
you felt that from me because that is a possible name
I
of
like
either book 5 or book 6.
I like that, playing with fire. We
Right.
shall see, but we know you're going to be successful, Beth. We feel it in your aura, in your energy. There is not many people would even have create the way you plan it out, the way you line it out, the way you see it, the way you got the download. You already know it was divine inspiration. And with divine inspiration, it has no choice but to be successful. But we are going to look at the cards to see if we can get any insight for you, to see if there's any messages that come through. But when I'm sitting here, I'm feeling a whole lot of success. I'm feeling a whole lot of
Thank you.
pinnacles. Let me see what I'm feeling.
And
I
I
don't.
will
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to interrupt your
No,
feeling.
go ahead.
I will say that I do believe eventually I'm going to do some screenwriting and I'm going to shop it. And I believe that it could be a limited series on one of the streaming networks. And I also will say, I shouldn't say it, but I'm saying it to you,
Okay.
that there is a person who's a well-known musician. And for some, like the music, but for some reason, he in the last year and a half has become, you are supposed to meet him. And it was like sent to me. It was put in my head, like, no, you're supposed to meet him. You're supposed to work together. And this is going to be a thing. And it's going to, make your life upheaval, think tower, that kind of.
Yes.
But he is well known. I'm not going to say who he is, but
A girl has to have some secrets.
I could see collaborating with him. So yeah, that's one thing. And I've actually had somebody who read me who actually said the name, and I freaked out because that was the first thing he said to me is, "Who is this person?" And I'm like, "What?"
Okay.
Yeah, but
I have to get there.
You need to do your thing.
I have to get there because I haven't gotten names.
Okay.
I have gotten different
It's
things,
okay if
but
you
I
don't
haven't
get
gotten names. But I want to go back to what you were saying. I can definitely see you creating a film project on a network, and one of the larger networks, because you have the wherewithal and the resources to make it happen. I mean, anyone can get on Amazon. That's easy. You can upload, you can produce it. Tubi is very easy to get on, because Tubi is a huge
Yeah, I have it on my TV. I never watch it.
yeah, I mean, but it's a huge search engine, which is relatively easy to get a show on. I have several friends that have produced shows that are on Tubi, but when you start talking about major platforms,
I'm talking about Hulu, Netflix,
exactly. I see you on a major network, but then I also see that it will be picked up by one of the, I mean, like Sony, MGM, like those kind of networks.
That would be phenomenal. I mean, Sony is also music, so
Right.
they kind of go hand in hand.
Yes. That your connections, your people will walk you in those music doors. That's what I see. That's what I feel. Um, yeah. You definitely gonna do a show and you definitely gonna get picked up. But let's see what the cards have to say.
Sharifa, I am loving this and I can't wait.
I don't know, but the first thing that came to mind was Sony. Um, Sony MGM, Sony. Um, I just been shuffling. I went in a different. We went in a whole different direction today. I told you at the beginning. I was honest with
I
you.
love it though.
When I wake up too early in the morning, I have no idea where I'm gonna go, what's gonna happen, what we're going to do. So I usually shuffle. I shuffle during every reading. For me, that's my sign to spirit that I'm about to do a reading. That's also a way for me to break the energy from the past reading. And it's also a way for me to concentrate and focus on you and connect to your energy. So I've just been sitting here as you've been talking to me, telling
I've been
me
watching you shuffling.
that's how I concentrate. That's
Yeah.
how I focus. But for me, the first card is always your issue, your main issue, your main theme that's running through your life. And for
Yes.
me, that's the 10 of Cups.
Oh, that's a
Right?
wonderful card.
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorite in the deck. So your issue to me is 10 of Cups to me is fulfillment. It's those happy times, those family times when everything is well, all the cups are full. It is a beautiful sign, a beautiful time in your life. So fulfillment, 10, completion of this cycle, this journey that you've been on. But it's also numerology. In numerology, it's a 1. So that means it goes back to the beginning, starting over a new cycle, a new journey of your life. And I can see you doing that. So you've gotten to one level, especially with your books, but it's now for you to time for you to take it to the next level and go into production. The next card that you have is the Devil.
Oh, I know what that means.
Okay, well, I'm glad you know what it means because you know the cards. Because some people read it and they get afraid. I always read it as overindulgence, overindulgence.
Yes, I'm also looking at it, and I'm going to be honest, because I know he's never going to watch this. It's also, once I started this project, my husband has become very controlling, very, unlike him, to the point where it's like, you keep doing what you're doing, and you might not be around when the books take off. But I see him as the devil, not that he's beating me, or it also has all the addiction issues. But
Yes,
me, I think of a controlling person. Because
yes, and for me, I also read that it as I was raised and I was told, the devil says, "I only call. Is up to them to answer." And so, even in most of the pictures with the chained people with the devil, they can leave if they wanted to. They can walk away if they wanted to. The devil doesn't force them to do it. So, like when people say, "Oh, the devil made me do it," no, the devil may have whispered or told you or suggested, but we still have free will to choose who we want and where we want to be and what's for our highest good, especially with that fulfillment.
yes.
So the next card that I have is the Temperance card.
Okay.
So I love that for you. Temperance for me is about harmony and it's about balance. And I can see you in that card because for me, temperance is always about the alchemist. The alchemist is the one who has the ability to create magic, to manifest, to pour a little bit of, I always think about it like cooking. You know what I mean? It's like really great chefs. Forget that recipe. Throw that recipe away.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just,
that's how I cook.
yes, that's the energy for me of the alchemist. Put a little bit of this, put a little bit of that, and then now you got this excellent dinner and everybody's like, wow, how could you have created that? So I also see that as divine inspiration just coming down. That to me is the energy of downloads, where you know when it's enough, when you need to add more without having to again read the recipe. Because the next card, this is beautiful, I told you, the Star. the star card, and this to me is the card that confirms that you are going to get your wish. You're going to get your wish. You're going to make it happen. Just be clear. I always say when I get the star, that card speaks not to where you are right now necessarily. It could be, but it always speaks for me to the child within us. That child who always had big dreams and really wanted to do certain things. And as we got older and our parents told us, no, we can't be an actor, no, you're not allowed to do these things, but tap back into that energy of that little Beth inside who dreams big. It was so funny because I did one of the last readings, the star came up, and I was like, to me, this is about dreaming big. And the guy was a teacher, and he was like, that's so funny that you said that, because whenever I sign my students' yearbooks, I always sign dream big. And I'm like, well, that's your confirmation. That's what it's saying. It's not about dreaming small or playing small. See, told you that book coming again, playing small.
I know.
Don't play small, Beth. This is not about playing
I
small.
might have to add that. I gotta say, I might have to add that.
That's the message. It's repeating itself. Do not.
And I'll have to put
small.
you in the acknowledgement saying, she told me to write this.
Yes. I need credit. I need my credit.
You'll get it.
I love this for you too. The next card for you is strength.
I do.
I
need strength.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said I need strength because I have a feeling where everything's going. So the cards that you're pulling, like temperance and the star, now strength, I am going to need strength because, certain members of my family are not loving everything that I'm doing, because they don't want to be in the spotlight. And I do. And so, yeah, I need to have that strength.
Yes. I mean, that is one of the challenges of being famous. Your family becomes famous, your children becomes famous, everybody knows who you are. But I love this for you. I don't know who else doesn't love it, but I love this for you. You getting major arcana cards, major lessons, major shifts. And the strength for me is always a beautiful, beautiful sign, because in this picture, the lion is laying down with a beautiful lady, and there's no one else in the world but a beautiful lady that can make a lion lay down, because the lion is not there by force. He's there because he wants to be there, because he chose to be there. If he didn't want to be there, he can get up and go. So this is not about brute force, doing it the hard way, doing it through masculine energy. This is about using your inner strength, your inner wisdom, your inner you. It was coming to me. Feminine wiles is what they usually call it. How we get, what we want. So I love it. I love strength for you. And then I love this. I love all girl. The Ace of Pentacles.
Oh, I love the Ace of Pentacles. Yes.
The Ace of Pentacles is one of my favorites, because the aces for me are unlimited. To me, I always think of aces as a baby in utero, right? So when it's in utero, it has the full possibility to be anything. It can come out and be a doctor. It can be a president. It could be anything. It could be a criminal. It could be whatever. But once it's born, it actually becomes tangible. Whereas the ace is the full potential. So again, if we're dreaming big, we want to dream, big. That's the only thing that I can say. So whenever I get the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles to me is always my investor card. It's always that seed money, right? It's not the $100 million, but it's the seed money that you invest into what you're doing, invest into your projects, invest into what you need to do in order to take you to the next level. That's what the Ace of Pentacles always symbolizes for me, because it is one coin. Right? It is one, but without that one, you can't get to the 10.
I know, and the Ace of Pentacles to me is the highest money, because it's just like a hand of God putting it up there for you and saying, here you go.
I love that. If you watch my show moving forward, you'll see I'm gonna be like, and like Beth said, it's the hand of God. Just see, I learn so much when I'm doing these readings, and that was my whole intent. I want to learn from everybody. What's your interpretation? What's your interpretation? I had like a card change for me completely from I hated seeing that card to, oh my God, I love when I see it. And that for me is the Empress, because I always felt that the Empress was this pregnant woman, and pregnant women understand that at some point in time, like the first trimester, you're nauseous. The second trimester is fun, but then by the third trimester, you're like, if you don't get this baby.
That's exactly the way all three of mine were. I look at the Empress, going off track, and I don't want to derail you from your phenomenal reading.
Mm-hmm.
The Empress is the embodiment of femininity.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean, but a woman who's in control of herself.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes up in a reading, depending, if you're using the Celtic spread,
mm-hmm.
and that card comes up in a certain, it means a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see the Empress, I'm like, okay, you're showing me as a woman, I'm together. I got everything that I need. And it's also an intuitive card.
Right.
So, different from the High Priestess.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see the Empress, it's like, okay, it's everything that's feminine and a woman who's in control of her situation. So I personally love the Empress.
Well, that's what I was telling my friend, my friend Dawn, and I was telling her my interpretation. She was like, Sharifa, I love the Empress. She said, whenever I see the Empress, she may be a pregnant woman, but it tells me it's time. It's time for the new life and a new birth. So she is pregnant, but it's time for your new direction. Not that we have it, but I just love certain cards, because the next card that I have is the Two of Swords.
Oh, okay.
The Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords to me is about indecision. It's about making a decision, making a choice. Sometimes people consider it a stalemate, but you cannot stay stuck. You have to decide. You have to make a decision.
Yes, and I know what that is. I agree with you. Two of Swords is like that. Of course, when we go further up the sword chain, maybe not so nice. But yeah, Two of Swords, because like in the Raider weight deck,
Mm-hmm.
the Two of Swords is two swords crossed like this.
Right.
So showing exactly what you said, indecision.
Mm-hmm.
Two roads to go down. Which one?
Right.
So I agree with that.
Which road you going down, Beth?
Well, I know where I'm heading, and people might not like it, but I have a feeling of where I'm going.
Okay, well, we gonna see what else we see, because you got the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords.
The Eight of Swords is somebody holding you back.
The Eight of Swords for me is my damned if you do, damned if you don't card. It means for me that there are eight. She is literally surrounded by eight swords. And so if she moves in any direction, she might get cut. So even if somebody is holding you back, and you have to cut off this person, it still hurts. Cutting off people doesn't mean just because it's a necessary thing that you have to do. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, right? But the whole message for me is that you cannot stay stuck. You cannot stay stuck in this position. No decision is a decision. And so she is blindfolded, but she's not chained. She's not, she can take the blindfold off, walk out and go on with her life, but she's so afraid of getting hurt and getting cut by one of these swords that she simply does absolutely nothing. And we both know that life has to move forward, but the Four of Swords, and all of a sudden there's some swords coming up for you, some thoughts, some ideas. But I love the Four of Swords, especially after the Two of Swords and after the Eight of Swords, because the Four of Swords card for me says two things. Number one is a card of healing for me. It's a card that's saying heal from whatever hurt, heal from whatever pain. But it's also a card that I always see as people who, if they get hurt, they're so quick to move on to something else, or so quick to just make a decision. And sometimes you need to just, this is my be still card. Be still and know that I am God, right? The other, I always tell this other story. There's an expression they say, Oprah Winfrey says, that she says that when most people don't know what to do, they have to do something. She says, when I don't know what to do, I don't do anything until I know what to do. And with the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords, to me, again, there is some unclarity. There still has to be a decision made. And I would say, don't do anything until you know exactly what to do, what the right thing is for you to do. So yes, that's definitely.
You were seeing some instability in my situation, which is true.
Mhm.
And I've learned that as women, sometimes we need to have an exit plan if we're thinking of something. I was dumb the first time I had a divorce. He was a wealthy man and he didn't want the divorce, so that made it worse. But I learned that if you're in a situation, even though it's been, 22 years and things change, that you don't do anything until you have that exit plan. That's kind of what I'm getting from you, which is pretty spot on.
Yes. Heal, rest. Because so often we jump out there and we make decisions and we don't have an excellent plan. You know what? You just gave me two more cards, two more definitions. We got the Hand of God in the Ace of Pentacles, and we got the exit plan in the Four of Swords.
Yeah,
I love that.
Sit and wait until that comes. I'm going to be interested if you see another man come in my life, but I'm not. I'm letting you go. And so far, I like everything that you're hearing, especially with the swords, because the swords are, kind of a tough thing.
Let's see what I see.
But it's not like you said, the Eight of Swords, it's a decision to be made. And you don't see it, but you kind of, and the Four of Swords just sitting there and saying, okay, wait, I know what I have to do. I can't do it yet.
I like you, Beth. You funny. At the end of the day, Beth, the Five of Swords.
Oh my God.
So you got a whole row of swords. For me, the Five of Swords is about arguments. It's about petty disagreements. It's about conflict. It's about going through it. It's about, wars. It's the upside, because even in saying that, I probably typically wouldn't say all of that, especially on a live. That would be more of a private reading conversation. But the upside for all the boys and girls who are listening, for me, in the Five of Swords, is that it's a minor arcana. It doesn't have to be a complete, it's arguments, and people argue. Some people, I have seen people, and I probably, you said something, I forgot what it was, but you was like, I probably shouldn't say this. I probably shouldn't say this, but I have seen people who argue, and I want to go and divorce them. I'm like, I don't know how you guys do that. And then 50 years later, they still together. And then you see people where they just so happy, so sweet, and you really be like, and then they wind up not being together. I'm like, how do these people do it? So nothing is impossible. With God, all things are possible. But there are definitely.
The card resonates with me. Let's just say that.
Okay.
It is. It couldn't have been more truthful.
Okay. Okay. Well, the question was, are you going, a new man coming in? But we know we have to close old doors before new doors open. But you got the 10 of cups, you got fulfillment, you got you the alchemist. You are you got the star. So there's so much hope, there's so much renewal, but there are some decisions that you have to make. So did this reading resonate with you, Beth?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have questions for me?
My only question is, I know I'm supposed to meet this person who has the ability, because he's well known.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds an interest in my books, and then because they're songs, and that's kind of what he does. I have been told that it's a karmic connection. There's a reason why the two of you two have to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Like from something in the past, something from, it was meant to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what interests me, especially with all the swords around me. I'm hoping for it comes out to a better outcome on the other side.
What is the question that are you asking me? Is he karmic?
Is he karmic? And well, I'm just supposed to meet him according to other people, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in seeing what you're seeing about.
If I were to look at anything as far as karmic, two things jumped out at me: the temperance and the star. Right. So that would be a yes for me, because the temperance for me is always about things that were meant to be, things that are written in our blueprint, things that are written in our story. The star to me also says that you can have whatever it is that you want, right? So the way, and it's interesting to me the way the cards lined out for you, where you had over here all major arcana cards, and then over here you had all swords. So that would tell me, in order for you to move forward with anyone on a project, with the movie, with the music, or whatever, there's an aspect that has to be straightened out. It has to be handled before anything else can come in. That's how I would read it.
That you're not wrong. I mean, but if you pull one card, let's see if it's a yes or a no.
Okay.
Pull me a good card, Sharifa. Pull me a good card.
They all good cards, Beth.
No, I know, and I understand. The 10 of Cups is like one of the best cards in the deck,
and the star is one of the. I'm pulling it. I'm
Yeah.
pulling it. I'm doing what I'm told. Yes, ma'am. But I'm just saying, you got the Ace of Pentacles.
I agree. The Star and the World also are, two great cards to have.
Yes, we didn't get the World,
but I got the Star, so I'm okay with that.
You got the Star, you got the Pentacles, you got Strength, you got Temperance, you got a lot. But we still gonna pull that card, because that's what we want to know. We want to know the yes or no. We want the energy. The energy of this.
I manifest this.
No, we want the energy.
And
did that answer your question? The Queen of Pentacles.
Queen of Pentacles.
The Queen of Pentacles is always a yes. The Queen of Pentacles is the Earth Mother. She nourishes the earth. She manifests. She brings new life. Look at that life. She's holding the pinnacle. There's no question in my mind that you want another card, Beth?
If you pull it, if it comes up, you got to take it. You know how the cards flip?
Right. No, but I had to laugh at how much I enjoy reading and how much it's so insightful for me, because I was to a certain extent, no offense to you, I was kind of like playing around, because I was like, you want another card, Beth? We can keep pulling cards until we get what you want.
I don't, but that's
no, but I pulled the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords to me is truth. It's like, that's the truth. What you've heard before is the truth. Truth is the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
The truth hurts, but the truth shall set you free.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
So moving forward, everything is good. Everything is a yes. It's just where you are right now. So we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching in the archives, and let them know how you want, what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
Okay. Well, that Sharifa really knows her cards as somebody who reads cards. But my books are a gritty but beautiful story. It's a love story. And I will say, and I did not say this to Sharifa, that through the books, there are parts of my real life. And it could be something that was said to me, or a feeling, or an actual situation that happened. And so the main female character is me, and I am her. And I know that sounds very strange, but when you start writing a character, they become not an alter ego, but you're so identified with them. And I think that in my reviews that I've gotten, people love the fact that my characters pop, and they do. I want you to love them. I want you to hate them. This series will take you on a roller coaster, but it is worth it, because if you want the romance, it's there. If you want the intrigue, it's there. And I will say there's a little bit of the mafia in there, and I can speak to that as a daughter of somebody who was a wise guy. And so I bring truth to the story, and it's the way New Yorkers talk and the gestures. And some people might be offended by it, but if you want things the way they really should be, this is a series for you. The songs are felt from my heart. And that continues, and that will continue through all the 8 books. So I think you'll enjoy it. It's going to be different from, it's not romantasy, it's real life, it's women's fiction, it's a little spicy. I do know that in analysis that have been done, for some reason, the 25 to 35-year-old women are really vibing on the book, where we thought it would skew for an older generation. I think it's a book for all generations. It's love, it's real, and I want you to read it. And once you read one book, you're going to be hooked, because I put a cliffhanger at the end of every book so that you'll want the next book.
I love it. Where can they pick up a copy?
Amazon, of course. And you can go to like Barnes and Noble. If you go to, their desk, they won't carry it. Look, I'm working to it's very hard to get your indie book into a bookstore, because the publishing companies own all those tables.
Right.
But there is one way, and I'm working hard to get on this book talk thing. But you can order it if you go up to the desk and say, I want Playing Hard, or all 3 of them. They can order it for you. And the more people who go into Barnes & Noble and ask for my book, they will eventually say, there's a reason why this book is being asked for. And so, yes, maybe I'll get a little shelf space there. But Amazon, as everybody knows, is the big... It's the big deal. That's where you want your book.
I love it. I love it. I want to thank you for being today's guest on Read Me Live. You are very welcome. I want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live. as well as everyone who is watching in the archives. I definitely appreciate your support. If you want to be right there where Beth is and get your own reading, visit my website at readmelive.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed